out here in Plainfield, Wisconsin. This is the Warden's hardware store. We're going to take a trip to Ed Gein's property. This is a sketchy ass corner because their building comes out too far. Why did the Wardens build it that way? Whee! Okay, and then let's see. So there was Sheriff Schley, was his name. He had just been voted in as sheriff. Not that long before this all happened. I think it was like maybe 6-8 weeks before this all happened. And he knew right away that he was in over his head as soon as they had found the scene at the Warden's hardware store where Bernice was attacked by Ed. So Frank Warden is Bernice Warden's son, and he is a deputy, not a sheriff. He's a deputy in town. I think I said in a different video that he was a sheriff. He is not. Look how beautiful it is outside, you guys. Those are like perfect clouds. They look even better on film too. Oh gosh, anyway, sorry, ADD all day, my mother. So Frank Warden found him, called the sheriff right away. They showed up. Frank Warden right away said, you know, Ed Gein was in here yesterday trying to ask my mom out. Like he asked her to go roller skating and if she wanted to go try out the new floor at the roller rink. And then he said that he was just saying that as a joke and he didn't really mean that. And of course Bernice declined his offer, and I don't know if that made him mad or if he was really just trying to set her up to do what he had done. And that was the day before this all had happened. And that day he also asked Frank Warden if he was going out for the first day of deer hunting, which was the next day. And Frank said yeah, because every man and woman that could carry a gun, that was of age to carry a gun and wanted to be out in the woods, was out in the woods. That's a lot of meat for a family if you can get a deer. And you can also sell that meat. And back in the day, they butchered most of that stuff by themselves, so they didn't need to pay anyone to do that. I'm glad we have people to do that for us, because I would not be doing any of that. I'll tell you that. So yeah, they found the scene. The cash register was empty. I think it had like $41 in it. It was gone. Frank Warden showed them a receipt written out by his mother with Ed Gein's name, because she kept really tight, close eye on the books and who bought what. So she knew what to order like every month, which is a really good idea. I mean, as far as inventory and saving money. Let's see. And then there was blood on the floor, and they followed the drag marks out of the back, and they could clearly see like blood in the dirt mixed in with the dirt. And then something being dragged through the dirt, and the Warden's hardware truck was gone. And that's where the trailhead ended. So, Ed, here's what I always thought. I thought Ed drove the hardware truck all the way to his house, took Bernice out, and then walked all the way back to town to get his truck, and then drove back to his house to return the Warden's truck. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. What he did was sneakier than that. Very sneaky. See, everyone thinks, oh yeah, he was insane. I don't think he was insane. He planned this crap. He planned doing all of this. He knew exactly what he was doing. And he was hiding what he did to Mary for years. years, and he knew what he did was wrong. So, yeah. And if he was in a daze while he was doing some of these things, then he wasn't in a daze for all of them. Shouldn't he have been charged at that point too? Then he totally played all those psychologists and psychiatrists. He totally tricked all of them, in my opinion. There's just no way. And then when he went to the institution, wait till you hear about that, because I don't think that's a big surprise to anyone either. It is what it is. So right away, since they suspected Ed Gein, 2 deputies went out to their house. It wasn't Frank Warden and it wasn't the sheriff. It was Dan and another man. Dan and another man. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. So anyway, they go out there. They didn't have a flashlight. They kind of pushed open the back door, pushed on the door to the woodshed / summer kitchen that led into the house. And hey, you guys, I'm so proud of myself. I remembered to turn the GPS volume off for this video. I love you, my taters. Oop, oop, oop. Crazy turn. Crazy turn. Crazy turn. Okay. Anyway, they go out there. They knock, no one answers. Knock again, no one answers. There's a big bump there in the road. There was no freaking sign warning me about it, though. So they knock in the door, they push open the door. They don't, try to open it. They just push on it, and the door comes open to the summer kitchen. So they creep inside. Ed had no electricity, so it was completely pitch black inside, besides from some of the headlight illuminating onto the shed. And they walk in and they find their way to the back door inside. Knock on that. Well, now it's clear that Ed is not there, and they carefully find their way out. And they go back into town and report that Ed Gein's not there, etc. Or they call over the radio, whatever. And so they go and investigate some other spots Gein would likely be, quote, hanging out at. And their first stop is the grocery store, because they know that they always go to the grocery store in town. He always goes to the grocery store in town, to Lester and Irene Hill's grocery store. I don't know the exact name of the grocery store or what that was about. I'm trying to find the location of the old grocery store as well, but that's kind of difficult to do, especially when you don't have an information center or a visitor center for the town. And I see why they don't, but I'm just saying. Look at farm country, yay, corn. If this is potatoes, that's a really sad tater field. Or maybe they just cut a bunch. No, I don't know. Anyway, so they go to look for Ed. I think I fit in with this channel because I'm so ADD and I can come back on topic, but usually I don't even remember what I was talking about. But since it's for you guys, I'm like, yeah, I gotta stay focused as much as I can. As much as one with ADD can. Sorry, the phone is shaky. These roads are crap. I don't know if you know, but Wisconsin has really shitty roads. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My fingers are in the way. So anyway, they go to the grocery store. Miss Hill's like, yeah, he's sitting in my driveway if he hasn't left yet to go see what's going on in town. So the officer goes over there and he's like, hi, you need to come with me. Oh yeah, this was Officer Dan. That's what the cop was. Officer Dan did this. And, oh yeah, Dan Chase, I think his name is. It's all coming back now. It's all coming back. And he didn't even think twice, like, oh, I'm going to be sitting in this car interviewing a murderer, possible murderer, by myself, like by himself. Like, he didn't think about that at all. Oh, no, he just went right for it. Like, I'm an officer of the law, I'm just gonna go all in. Go all the way to the wall with it. And he did. So Ed Gein was questioned in the back of the car. And the officer, Dan, wanted him to start his story from the beginning. How did he start his day up until that time? And he's like, now, you didn't tell the story the same way the second time through there. And Ed's first reaction is, oh, I've been framed. And he's like, framed for what? And he's like, for murder. She's dead, right? And he's like, now why would you say she's murdered? And he's like, well, that's what I've heard. And that was kind of in the bag for Officer Dan Chase. I hope I'm saying that name right. If it's not, I'll just put it in one of those little subtitle bubble things. Subtitle bubble things. You know, that's a technical term. I made it up. That night is when they took him to the county jail. Oh my goodness. Washera County Jail. See, these roads are just complete crap. Not that my camera skills help. And he was being questioned by one of the detectives. I think his name, it's a long W name. It's like Wilimowski or something. I'll put that down in the subtitles too, because there's a lot of names to remember. And some of them are very Polish, and I don't know how to spell them, let alone half the time pronounce them. I am terrible with pronouncing last names, I will say that. I'm not good at it at all. Oh, for a second here, I thought we were by Mary Hogan's Tavern, but we are not. Anyway, so while he was being questioned, there were deputies out on his property searching, continuing the investigation. And you can imagine what they had found. Oh wait, shit. I think I skipped over a part. Okay, so before they took him to jail, I think it was Officer Sheely and Fritz went back out to the property while someone went to the grocery store to look for him. And they brought their flashlights this time. And while one was knocking on the door again, I think it was Sheriff Sheely that was looking around with his flashlight in the shed. And he turned around, or he's like, oh my gosh, here she is, or something like that. Ooh, we got the rumble strips. Brrr, brrr. Life is more fun with sound effects. I suggest you try it. It is, and when you got a toddler, holy schnizzle, watch out. You can't come up with enough sound effects. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I think I missed a turn here at one point while I was talking, and I have my GPS sound off. So, my bad. Maybe I did. I don't really know for sure. I'm just going to go ahead and say, yep, I did. As you could imagine, all of the investigators and like all of the officers, sheriffs, all of the like local police departments were called over. This was a huge investigation, and it of course just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So by the time half of them showed up, there was already a huge crowd.